Today I'm going to do a video on General Ledger. Before I start, I remind you of the rule that we follow to assist us with this work. We use the two words DEB, click, where D stands for debit, E is your expenses, A is your assets, D is your drawings. So the debit side is the plus side for expenses, assets and drawings. And then C stands for credit, liabilities, income, C capital. So credit is the plus side for those accounts. The first thing you do when you're doing general ledger is you head up the accounts and you apply that dead click rule. So the first account we're going to be doing is capital. Capital is capital, so it's minus plus. Then we have trading stock. Trading stock's an asset, so it's plus minus. Bank is an asset, plus minus. Sales is income, minus plus. And stationery is an expense, plus minus. Once you've done that, you look for balances and totals, and you fill those in, always on the plus side of the account. So on the 1st of March, capital had a balance brought down of 130,000. Trading stock, the balance brought down on the plus side, 64,500. Bank, balance brought down, 36,000. Sales, when you get to nominal section, it's still on the plus side, but we replace the word balance with total. So the total of the sales was 87,500. And stationery had a total of 22,000. Once you've done that, you start posting these journals to the ledger. So I'm going to start with the CRJ, and I'll start under sundry accounts. The first one on the 12th says that the owner increased his capital to 150,000. Now if you look here, the owner already has a balance of 130,000. So to get to 150, he's only going to put in 20,000. So the amount of capital that's going to be increasing here is 20,000. It came from the CRJ, and the other account that changes here, that's your contra account, is going to be bank. In other words, if you think of your double entry rule, for every debit there must be a credit, we are telling ourselves that on the debit side of your bank account, included in the total of money received, will be that 20,000. Okay, then we go to this one. A refund of 350 was received for stationery returned. Please remember to put the amount into the account first and then worry about the details. So if you return stationery, stationery must be going down. So start off by filling that 350 on the minus side. Then fill in the details. It came from the CRJ. March the 16th was the date, and the contra account for that, the other account that changes, would be bank. Once you're done with sundry accounts, you go to your big totals, and the first one we come to here is cost of sales. Now we are selling stock here, so ask yourself, is stock coming into the business or going out of the business? Obviously if we're selling, stock must be going out of the business, so on the minus side put the 34,000. It came from the CRJ, and because we're posting a total, the date is March the 31st. Now that entry is not included in the bank, so you can't write bank here. You have to write cost of sales, because that is the other ledger account that's going to change. So trading stock is decreasing, and we always decrease it by the cost price, so that we can work out how much stock we've actually got left in the business. Okay, the next one here is sales. If you've got sales, you've sold more. So on the plus side, the 59,900. That came from the CRJ, 31st. The contra account for this one, this is included in the bank. So bank will be your details. Okay, then we have our bank account. Look at the heading of the journal. Cash is being received. If cash is received, means your bank balance is going up. So on the plus side of bank, record that 90,000. Now that 90,000 is contained partly in sales, capital, stationery, and so on. We don't write those things individually in the bank account. We summarize, and we're telling ourselves there are lots of contra accounts. So we write sundry accounts there, telling ourselves the other entries will be found in various different accounts. Okay, moving on now to the CPJ. There's nothing under sundry, so start with stationery. Stationery is being paid for, which means stationery is being bought. So on the plus side, stationery is increasing 7,100. That came from the CPJ. It's a total, so it's the 31st. The contra account for this one is bank. That 7,100 here is included in that bank total there. So you always write the name of the other column that contains that entry. Okay, trading stock. We're paying for trading stock, which means we're buying trading stock. If you're buying trading stock, stock is coming into the business. So on the plus side, 31,800, and that came from the CPJ, and your contra account is bank. And then lastly, our bank total in our CPJ. If you pay money, this bank balance is going to decrease because you're spending some of your money. So on the minus side, 54,000. And once again, because we're paying for a whole lot of different things, we don't write them individually. We summarize by writing sundry accounts. Okay, the last thing we need to do now is we need to add up and balance our accounts. If you've got stuff on one side of the balance sheet section only, you just write the total. Please remember to leave these details, columns, and dates and so on empty next to any total of a ledger account. Now we come to trading stock. We've got things on the debit side and on the credit side, which means we need to balance the account. So step one for the balancing of an account is you add up the plus side. So you take those two numbers and you total them. Step two is you take that number to the minus side of your account. No words, no details, no dates, no nothing next to totals. Then to work out the balance, you're working out the difference between the debit side and credit side. In other words, 96,300 minus the 34,000, and that's going to give you your balance, which we are going to carry down. And then the last thing you need to do is bring that balance down to the plus side. So that is saying at the beginning of the next month, you've got trading stock worth 62,300 on hand. Sometimes they ask you, how would you check that that balance was correct? The way you do that is you physically count the stock. So you do stock taking. And let's say you count the stock and it's only worth 50,000. That's telling you that stock has gone missing, probably stolen. So ways to try and prevent this in future: use CCTV cameras, hire security guards, check employees as they leave the business, before they leave the business, that they haven't taken any of the stock, and so on. Alright, then we come to bank. We also have to balance this. So we add up the plus side. We take the total across to the minus side. We take the 126,000 minus the 54,000, gives me 72,000, which is my balance, and I bring the balance back down to the plus side. That is the amount of money that you have in your bank account. You can confirm that balance by looking at the bank statement that you get from the bank. Check it's the same amount. In the nominal section, when you've got stuff on the one side of the account, you just add it up. So you take your two sales numbers and you add them to get 147,400. In the nominal section, when you've got stuff on the debit side here and the credit side, you add up the debit side and you minus the credit side, and you just write the answer on the plus side. So in other words, 22,000 plus 7,100 minus 350 gives you the 28,750. You don't write any words or details next to that. Okay, so unlike the balance sheet section where you've got to write balance carried down and brought down, nominal section you just write the answer. Okay, if you want more activities or information on this section of work, I suggest you go back to my videos from early last year, where I have a video on explaining the general ledger in detail, as well as an additional activity for you to work through. But for now, that's all, guys. Thank you.